So the financial tool that we're going to be talking about has less government oversight. Therefore, they are massively different from one bank to the other. Mortgage companies or the entire industry post 2008 was a perfect excuse for the government to swoop in and say, you know, we need to take control of this because too many people were hurt by greedy lenders. And let me tell you something. I worked for the 9th largest lender from 2002 to 2008. Yeah, we were greedy. I'm not going to say that we weren't. We were there to make money. That's what all businesses are around to do, to provide jobs, provide a service, and to make money. But there has to be some accountability and responsibility of people taking those loans. Okay? So like, for instance, the company that me and Matt work for, we were technically a subprime company, but less than 1% of our paper was those ninja loans where I have no income, no job, and no assets.
Right.
Cool,
right.
You're still approved. We didn't do those. All the loans that we did, I would say all, 99% of the loans that we did, you had to prove your income, and it had to be a net tangible benefit to you as a borrower, meaning it needed to either reduce your payments or reduce your term, give you cash, etc. It needed to save you financially. And we had this model that software that we ran that would tell us, all right, it will pass net tangible benefit. You can offer this. But I go back to saying that we as consumers have to take some responsibility too.
Right.
I know I can't afford this, but the bank's going to give me a loan anyway. So I'm going to buy that house and that house and that house, and I'm going to buy another one over here. And at some point, they're going to call the note due, and I'll just foreclose. Okay, that's not just lenders being greedy. That's also being irresponsible as consumers too.
Sure.
So what we talk about is once the government swooped in, they made the mortgage industry the same. Okay, I don't care if you're in New York, California, potentially Sweden. That's a caveat there. But you know, Hawaii, Alaska. If you get a Fannie Mae loan or a Freddie Mac loan, they're all the same guidelines. They're almost the same interest rate. You might have one lender that's offering 6.25 and another one offering 6.5. The major difference in the mortgage industry is service. Do you have a loan officer that can help you get approved, understands credit and all that? That's it. It's just service and expediency. How fast can they get to you to the closing table? Because now they're all the same. Back in what I call the heyday, we were all different. You know, I could give you a 17-year mortgage term. I could give you a 13-year mortgage term. I could give you a 29-year mortgage term or whatever. It was all different. Rates were different. Programs were different. Now they're all the same.
Yep.
What we're going to be talking about moving forward is not controlled by the government. This is a bank portfolio asset. It's a line of credit. So having said that, every bank and credit union has a different appetite for risk. Therefore, they're all massively different. Right. And we have a team that does that, investigates these banks and credit unions. So I'm going to show you proof in the pudding. We're going to talk about a loan estimate. So everyone that did a mortgage post 2010, this is what you signed. It's called a loan estimate. And again, in the government's infinite wisdom, they took a one-page document called the good faith estimate, and they said, we need to simplify this for the average consumer. So let's
they probably
make
said simplifies.
Yeah.
They probably did.
Yeah. George Bush would have. And so we're going to simplify it and make it a 3-page document that is far more confusing. So this is what it's called. It's called a loan estimate. This is page 1. Now I want you to pay attention to some of the terms here. Loan amount, 162. Interest rate, 3.875. Yeah. Pretty doggone good rate in today's market.
Ain't no one getting that in today's market.
Yeah, it's a good rate, but is it a good rate of interest? All right. So you got your monthly payment. So this is what the loan officer or the closer at the table is focused on is, hey, this is the loan amount we told you. Here's the payment that you said you could afford. And here's what we expect you to bring to the closing table. As you can see at the bottom, it says cash to close, $16,000 because of the closing costs. Let's move on to page 2. Page 2, you got all the different fees broken down. You know, origination fees, application fee, underwriting fees. We call these junk fees, appraisal fee, credit reporting fee. I love this one. Flood determination fee. We need to determine if it's in a flood zone, but then we need to charge you to continue to monitor if it ever gets in a flood zone, right? Tax monitoring fees. Now, here's the other thing. I will throw my lender buddies a bone. Mortgage lenders get a bad rap for all these closing costs. But outside of the section A, or actually only A, because B is services that you can shop for. It says you cannot shop for, which you can't shop for an appraisal fee, but you can shop for title companies, right? So they don't collect that money. That money goes to third-party vendors. Only Section A is what they're getting on top of the interest for that loan too, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot on the back end. There's a whole secondary market when it comes to mortgages where they make a lot of profit there too.
No doubt.
But if you look at some of the other closing costs, that is your title fees, right? And for whatever reason, title companies don't get a bad rap for the fees that they charge.
No, they don't.
Yeah. And I'm going to make a prediction. In the next 5 years, there won't be a single title company around. Yeah. I think because of blockchain technology, they should have already been exterminated to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All of this could be put on the blockchain, and you don't need a law firm to determine all this title insurance and whatnot. So anyways, I'm just making a prediction there. And then you got all your other closing costs, and then hence when it brings the cash to close, because you got your escrows, homeowners insurance, your property taxes, and all that. Here is the most important piece. And this is what's happening at the closing table. Here's page 1. This is what I told you. Page 2, you know there's closing costs. I mean, every lender charges this, so just sign here. Page 3, don't even really understand it, neither do you. Here, just sign down at the bottom. Here's why. And I haven't met a single client, 10,000 plus clients in, that is like, I took a look at my loan estimate before talking to us.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was blown away.
Right.
Nobody pays attention to this. But this is where the government has what we call the CYA documents, cover your assets, right? And they're forcing these lenders to disclose to you as the consumer how much you're being screwed.
Right.
Again, this was a 3.875% mortgage.
Yep.
But what is the total interest percentage? Which means if you take that 3.875, you're going to end up paying 70% in interest.
Yep.
So if it's a $100,000 loan,
Yep.
you're going to end up paying $170. That's at a 3.875.
No doubt.